moment. Okay, hello everybody, I am TheZorch, and welcome to Bike with Mike, show where I unfluffy myself on an exercise bike. The exact bike I use that I bought from Amazon, there is in a link below in the video description on the YouTube side. It's not an affiliate link, so you can click on it and get this one. There is a newer version of this. Don't know if I'll pick that one up. I'll have to see a comparison of what's different between them. I mean, this one works. I bought this years ago and it still works. It's still good. So I don't know what's different about the new one. I think there's just a slight redesign of it and everything. Callie's asleep. Resting. I think she's about to go to sleep. I am in the Bike with Mike room on my Discord server, so if you want to join me there, the link to my Discord server is in the video description on the YouTube side. I'll be adding that link. I'll be trying to add that link to my Twitch and Mixer pages soon. I have to look at that and see if I can add that to those. Especially to the Mixer side. I'm going to see if I can do that. And because there's not a lot of options there, but I haven't looked at that page in a while. I still stream to Mixer, and I get more people on Mixer in the mornings than I do anywhere else. I got my weights. I'm going to try the weights out. Yesterday I couldn't lift my arm up really high without it hurting, so I pulled something in here the last time I did the weights. I think I overdid it. So I'm gonna... Yeah, I can still feel it in my arm, but it doesn't hurt to raise my arm above here. Yesterday I couldn't put my arm above this. But it's better today. They get in the bike. While I'm pedaling, mess around with these. More comfortable to use them this way. So, you know, this is a gaming channel. I do occasionally release videos for games, and I do game streaming. I'm going to get back into doing that. I promise that. I'll be getting back into doing that. Some different stuff. Been playing more of Elder Scrolls Online recently. Play a little bit of Final Fantasy XIV. May stream some of the new Metro Exodus. I haven't been back into that yet. Been doing a lot of other things, and I've got some other stuff that I need to do too. Plus I've got other videos to still work on. But you see that thing about Google's gaming service? Ambitious is a word I would use for it. Very, very ambitious. What they're wanting to do with it. Now, there's a few hurdles to them being successful with that service. One of them being let me put this out here so you can hear me better. One of them being the really shitty state of ISPs in the United States. I mean, you need only look at our ISP to know You know, there are shitty ISPs in the United States. Most of them impose bandwidth caps. Most of them impose bandwidth limits. That'll be a problem for a game streaming service. I mean, it's a problem for people who watch Netflix. You know, so that's going to be a hurdle for them. Now, one of the things that they have, that Google has that most other companies doesn't have, is that they own a lot of dark fiber. And yes, what's dark fiber? It is basically a lot of fiber optic lines that don't carry any data or aren't being used. Google bought up a lot of dark fiber. They've also installed a lot of it. They have their own. They literally almost have their own internet infrastructure. They're not quite global yet, but they own a lot of it. And they said they're going to utilize that for this service. And that would help to minimize a lot of the latency that is out there on the internet. We'll see if that works or not. Now, the interesting thing is that they're not going to release a set-top box. You basically would use your browser if you're on a computer. Doesn't matter what kind of computer. Whether it's, you know, if it's anything that can run Chrome, the Chrome browser, you can basically play games on it. Now, and the specs of their hardware sound interesting. It's probably custom server stuff. You know, rack mount hardware. Looks like they went to AMD and had some very custom hardware made. They're using AMD mainly because on the back end of all this, their servers are not running Windows. They're running Linux. So their games that they have are running native Linux and also are using Vulkan. From what I understand, the version of Assassin's Creed Odyssey they have is a Linux version also running on Vulkan. Well, that's what their technology is. It's Linux based and it uses Vulkan. And of course, that would be easy for Doom, because there is already a Vulkan API version of Doom. I use it, and it runs really good on AMD. Actually, Vulkan runs better on AMD cards than it does on NVIDIA. Their controller looks like the Pro controller for the Nintendo Switch. You know, it sort of looks like a, what you would call it, it looks like the PlayStation controller and the Nintendo Pro controller had a baby. That's what it basically looks like. And they'll also have, you know, your ability to record videos for YouTube or live stream. So they'll have those features built in. YouTube already has facilities for letting you stream with your webcam, and also letting you, like, the sort of Netflix style premieres where you are, you know, in a little window in the corner and you're watching one of your uploaded videos with your community. They've already got facilities for that. I don't know how many people use that. It's mandatory on Netflix, from what I understand. or if you upload videos, you have to do a premiere. But it's optional on YouTube. They're not imposing it. But we'll see. I mean, I used to use OnLive. I did not pay for OnLive, but I had a free account, and I was part of the beta for OnLive, so I was able to play a lot of games and stuff. It was playable. I did notice the latency. It was there, but I did play like Arkham Asylum and a little bit of Fear, one of the Fear games. It was noticeable. The latency was noticeable. That's the one thing noticeable, but it was not a game breaker. What Google needs to do is they need to solve the issue. They need to solve the latency problem. That's the main hurdles of this. One, they have to solve the latency, and two, they have to do something about the ISPs. They have to do something about the bandwidth caps for the ISPs. And you know, as big as they are, and I have, you know, I've talked in the past about, you know, just very recently about the possibility of Google being broken up, but that's something that is in the long term, not something that's going to be immediate. I do believe that that's eventually going to happen. It's not an immediate thing. It's not going to be like overnight Google's going to get, you know, broken into different companies. But for right now, they're big enough and powerful enough that they can, you know, they're big enough and they're powerful enough that they can strong arm ISPs into getting rid of their bandwidth caps and saying, you know what, your limited bandwidth caps and everything are hurting our business. Get rid of them, and we'll kick some. We'll send some kickbacks your way if you do it. If you get rid of your bandwidth caps for everybody across the board, we'll send some kickbacks your way. We'll send some subsidies your way. We'll subsidize you getting rid of bandwidth caps. They could do that. They've got enough money for that. They could easily do that. Or as evil and monolithic as Google is, getting rid of bandwidth caps is actually in their best interest right now with this service. They want it to be successful and everything. And if they're really serious about pushing this, and they built, you know, their controller for this. Interesting, they're using Wi-Fi and not Bluetooth to the device you'll be playing the games on. That might help improve the latency, but they're using Wi-Fi, which typically you really don't want to game Wi-Fi, but it's only sending the controller data, not actually having to send anything else. So that might actually make it a little better. Now, how it will coordinate with the platform that you're streaming a game on, how it will know what you're streaming on, that I don't know. It might be tied to the account. You might have to plug the controller in. It might work similar to the way you set up your, it might work similar to the same way you set up your Chromecast. It might work that way. Way you maybe you access an app on a cell phone for your controller, and you set it up for your account, your Google account, and then wherever you, no matter, it doesn't matter, the controller doesn't have to know what platform you're on. You know, whether you're on a phone or a tablet or on your web browser on Windows, Mac, Linux, it doesn't care. All that matters is that you're connected to a game and both accounts are synchronized. Platform doesn't matter. And if they can make that work, which it's doable, but it would take a lot of work. It's doable. It would take a lot of work, and it would require Google to strong-arm a lot of ISPs into getting rid of their bandwidth caps. But again, as I said, they're in a position to do that, and they have the technology. I mean, they have the back-end technology to handle that much streaming data, and they have the technology partners for the rendering side. All they need is the game developers, and they're set. And that should worry Sony and Microsoft and others. Because this is, the way it sounds, they can play more than just PC games. They could potentially handle, you know, other stuff. I mean, they could have exclusive games that push the hardware, because you're not having to render stuff on your end. You know, so you could have a potato computer, so a $300 Walmart laptop, and you could be playing a 1080p or 4K game with incredible graphics. You know, with capabilities that would choke most gaming PCs except for really high-end machines. So they have the potential of producing some really elaborate stuff. And they've got the tools for that. So if they can make it work, there's hurdles. If they can make it work, Google's got something on their hands that could become a major contender. There is the potential there, but they've got a lot of hurdles to jump through to make it work. The main hurdle is the bandwidth and latency problems. Getting the developers on board, they've got Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Doom Eternal already. That means they've got id Software. It means they've got Bethesda and Ubisoft in their corner already. A lot of other developers are not going to ignore that. They got those two players already, two major AAA studios already signed on. The other ones are not going to ignore that, or they're going to ignore it at their peril, especially if Google could pull this off, if somehow they can do it. They've got the sheer muscle. They can just throw money at this thing and brute force it. Just what I think they've been doing. So I don't know. This one really makes you think. You know, It sort of envisions the way I've been seeing the way computers would go in the future, and not too distant future also. One idea I had was you wouldn't have individual computers in your home. You'd have one big, powerful central computer, and then everyone's tablets, laptops, desktop machines, and everything would all connect to it. You'd connect to your account on that machine, and your little devices and stuff would be just, you know, thumb terminals that would connect to it. You'd still be able to use stuff like USB thumb drives and, you know, other kinds of storage and webcams and controllers and everything like that. But all the main processing power would be on a very powerful machine you would have in your house. Well, this would be probably a multi-CPU machine and lots of memory, maybe powered by something like Unraid, and each person would have their own virtual machine with their own operating system and desktop and everything in it. That's possible. I mean, look at what Linus Tech Tips did, where they took a powerful server grade system, put Unraid on it, and they were able to get multiple people playing games at high frame rates with their own graphics cards. But this would be different. This would be a system that's designed specifically for they had to coax the hardware into doing it. This would be hardware that's designed specifically for it. You know, where you could assign specific USB ports or specific where you wouldn't have assigned USB ports on the machine itself. Whatever VM you're running would detect the USB ports on your terminal device, and those would be your USB ports, and it would connect to them via some kind of high-speed wireless connection. Something different than Wi-Fi. Or you could have a wired connection with certain devices. And it would be quick, and you would be able to access it outside your home too. That's where I see computers going in the future, probably within my lifetime. You know, and you can upgrade that machine and everything easily. So you upgrade it once, you upgrade it for everybody in the house. So everybody has a high-end machine. In a lot of ways, it's a little more economical to do it that way. One other thing I think that needs to change is, I think Windows has to go from being a paid operating system to free. Because right now, Windows is the only consumer operating system that is currently paid, that you have to buy. Every other one, free. And you know, Microsoft's not making that much off of Windows purchases. They don't need, you know, Windows activation and all of that, because if anything, Stadia proves that we're moving into a area in technology where the platform doesn't matter. And you know, buying stuff that locks you into the Windows ecosystem, and marketing stuff that locks people into the Windows ecosystem and charging for the operating system and everything is very outdated thinking. There are other ways that Microsoft could monetize with, say, well, they have their store. They have to give developers more incentive to use their store, which means they have to dump their draconian policies for the store. They have to give developers a better share of the profits from their apps. I think also they need to get rid. Thank you for the follow. I am Guy. Thank you for the follow. And that's on Mixer. They need to make it so that you can have just more than universal apps on the Microsoft Store. Be able to buy desktop apps from there, not just the new UI stuff, formerly known as Metro. So they need to develop the reason why there's not a lot of apps on the store is because there's not much incentive compared to other platforms. So they need to change that. And they could sell other services like what? Okay. Probably talking to the other guy. I'm definitely not. All you have to do is look at my look at the groups that I am a member of on MeWe. Definitely not. But where is I at? Darn you members, darn you Mixer people, you got me off of my train of thought. Okay, talking about the apps. Yes, other things that Microsoft could do to make money. Consumer support contracts. They could have support service, you know, $10 a month fee and get personalized service for Windows. Or, you know, they could do something like they could set up their own system like Spotify or iTunes. They tried that before and it sort of blew up in their face because they tried to beat the iPod, and the Zune was a dismal failure. And oh, I gotta move the screen so I can see that. Naked 69. Okay. Well, I was reading the guy's okay, I was reading the guy's name. I was thanking him for the follow. That's his name. I am not. But, what was I getting? Yes, Microsoft did have something similar to iTunes. I don't know if they still have it. I know the Zune was a big failure. They tried to take on the iPod and they failed, and the iPod, it failed, you know, and now they're on, now one of their defunct devices is on Guardians of the Galaxy. Star-Lord has a Zune. they could do a lot of stuff to get rid of the, you know, the price tag for Windows. They have talked about, Microsoft has talked about creating a gamer version of Windows 10 that was optimized for running games. They could make that free. You know, it would have some of the features of Windows 10 Professional, because you know, there are some of those. I have Windows 10 Professional on my machine, and you know, some of those features come in handy for gamers. You know, some of the features come in handy, and also there's the fact that we can control when we have better control over when we get updates. If you're on Windows 10 Home, you're shit out of luck. Your machine, when your machine gets updates, it's gonna reboot on its own. And if you're in the middle of a stream, you know, it's going to interrupt you. So they need to have, you know, something like that to where the machine is not going to reboot on you in the middle of a stream. So have a free version of Windows that is specifically for gamers. They've talked about having a gamer version, so that would work. No. What would give people incentive to use that as gamers would be that Microsoft has been toying around with some technology that would, some of their software technology that would let PCs run Xbox games natively. You know, both use the same operating system. Obviously, there's significant differences between the Xbox One, Windows 10, and the Windows 10 on PC. But, you know, with the right software under the hood, and with the right software under the hood, you could run Xbox games on your PC. And so they've been testing that. And of course, you know, they have this mandate where if you release a game on the Xbox, you don't have to put it out on PC, but they encourage you put it on PC. So a lot of games that are on Xbox One are also on PC. This is especially true of their first-party stuff from the Microsoft studios that they own, different studios that they've picked up. I don't even have this on the highest setting. These are adjustable, and they're a little tough to squeeze. Like squeezing firm. Try and keep this PG-13. Yes, I am a horn dog. Wow, it's 35 minutes already? I'll go a little longer with the bike and then I'll switch to the weights. I'm gonna go a little easy on the weights because I strained my arm the last time I used them. That's why I skipped yesterday. So to recap for everybody that just joined the stream, I was talking earlier about Google's Stadia. Now, the real challenges for that would be ISPs with bandwidth caps and the latency issues. Now, they have some workarounds to that because Google owns a lot of dark fiber. But they've been building a infrastructure between their data centers of their own, but they're not using it yet. That's why it's called dark fiber. So they could turn that on for Stadia and, you know, have that unrestricted, bandwidth that is specifically for this. You know, that's an expensive bandwidth to use just for gaming, but if it's just for their internal communications, they could use it for that, and it would help alleviate some of the problems with latency. They need to deal with that to make this work. I beta tested on live, and it was playable, but I could easily see the latency that has to be dealt with, and they have to do something about the ISPs that are greedy fuckers. I know Google's greedy. I said the F word and I said I wanted to make this PG-13. But you know, it's true. The ISPs are greedy, and you know, a lot of them are also cable TV services, and I think in this day and age, being a cable TV service and also running your own internet service at the same time is sort of a serious conflict of interest, because the internet has become a major competitor to the cable TV side. I think major cable ISPs should splinter off their internet service to a separate company they license to, or license their lines to. They should do that in order to avoid that conflict of interest. Right now, it's a major conflict of interest, and they are just begging for regulation. It's going to eventually come to that. We're things are happening politically behind the scenes that are getting rid of the people that are problems, that are, you know, that are troublemakers. Things are happening behind the scenes, and you know, people who would bow to corporations and give them everything they want, that's being gotten rid of. Slowly but surely. You know, people don't see it because our mainstream media lies through its teeth, but it's happening. Don't get me on my political soapbox, please. I will burn a lot of liberal ears. I have a lot to say to those people, and none of it's pleasant. Being blocked. I said, there's a lot to say to those people, and none of it's pleasant. And now we're having bandwidth issues. Oh my. Let me check the connection. Could also be our Fred Flintstone quality ISP out here in Texas. You know, this is the home of Verizon Fios, yet we don't have it here. We don't have it in Texas, well, in this area of Texas. Texarkana. And Texas is the home of Verizon Fios. It's like, by rights, they should be border to border. You know, this is their headquarters. This state is their headquarters. This entire state should be wired up for it. Yet we have this crap ISP. I don't see anything right now. I'm gonna monitor this. I'm running my pretty ping script. Oh, wait a minute. I think my ping to cable1.net is just completely frozen up. Oh, nope, there it goes. And to Shields Up. Shields Up is run by Gibson Research. He hosts a show on Leo Laporte's This Week in Tech, the show Security Now. He hosts that. He also makes SpinRite, which is a very old, long time tool for disk recovery. And he also maintains a lot of tests to check your router to see if you are secure online, if your router's in stealth mode so it can't be detected from the outside world. Yeah, I'm seeing some issues on our line. Again, as I said, we have a Fred Flintstone ISP. It's bad out here. It's been good so far for several days, but recently we've been having some trouble. Every so often we have to call them. It's bad enough that I have Cable One on speed dial on my phone. We call them that often. I think we've had our cable modem replaced like 3 or 4 times. Very recently we just had it replaced with a whole new one. We've had the line into the house replaced, I think, twice. And they're supposed to replace the pedestal outside where we connect to their service. They're supposed to be replacing that, but we've never heard back from them on that. Okay. I'm seeing jitters on the external connection. Well, I'm going to get to the weights. I'm going to go easy on these because I hurt my arm last time I did them. I think I did it way too much. And I couldn't lift my arm up. I hurt something in my arm. I couldn't lift my arm up higher than this without it really hurting. I'm gonna go easy on it today. Just gonna do these. Just gonna do some curling. I'm not gonna do the thing where I hold it up in the air either today. Just do some of this. I gave it a day to rest. And now I'm going to see what I can do here. Rest a little bit. GDC is going on right now. Actually, GDC came up without me even being aware that it was coming. I mean, I knew GDC was on its way, but I didn't know it was already here. And that's when I found out about Google's Stadia project. And I usually keep up with it because, well, we're not doing the Zorch Central show, which we normally stream once a week. But we're not doing it now because we need another green screen. Well, we have another green screen, but we need that Elgato one. It's portable. So because we can't keep the other green screen up because it'll be in the way. And the lighting we have right now is big, and it's big and annoying and in the way. So we have a few of the lights up so I can use the green screen, which I'm going to be using that soon for a few video projects. I'm going to be doing that for another Random Thoughts video here on Zorch Central. And I have more stuff to do for Gamers Bay. I have an old Gamer Plays Atari 2600 video to do for them. That won't be using the green screen. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. If I have Tygra on the show with me doing the multiplayer Atari 2600 games, I'll have him on. We've left just three lights, the two that illuminates the green screen and one for my face. And because of my vision, my vision problem is not correctable, not without major surgery, and some of it's not correctable at all. And something I was born with. I mean, I am averse to really bright light. That's why I keep my room dark. And these, I can't keep, even though I don't have really bright studio lights in here right now, I can't keep these LED strip lights on all the time because they're just glaring in my face, and eventually it'll give me a headache. And that's what happens with a lot of the studio lighting in the other room. Is it's in my face, I can barely see the screen, and it gives me headaches. And Tygra's suggested wearing sunglasses. How can I see the screen to play games while I'm streaming wearing sunglasses? Unless I can get what would help is if I had glasses that were polarized to block the light coming from the studio lights, but allowing the light from the monitor to come through, or at least some of it, because those screens have a harsh lighting. Me and Tygra both have problems with bright light. He's full albino, I'm partial albino. I was borderline albino when I was born. I had white hair when I was born. I have the problem with bright light like a lot of albinos do. I had problems with vision like a lot of albinos do. His vision's worse than mine. Yet we still play games. We're still able to play games. It's a little more challenging for us because our vision's not that great. We have to have larger screens. We have to sit closer to the TV than other people. Okay. It's been almost an hour. Really should do more on the weights, but stress this arm anymore, and I need to, because I really did hurt it the other day. It's not as bad. I mean, I can lift this. I can lift my arm above here. Yesterday I could only get it up to here because of what happened, because I overdid it with the weights the day before. Cracked Raccoon, welcome back to the stream. You always show up when I'm about to go off. About to end. The recap for you today, I talked about, you may have heard about Google Stadia and the challenges they will face to make that work. Especially here in the US. ISPs with bandwidth caps. There's also the latency issues of a game streaming service of that nature, because I know that it does work, but there are problems because I beta tested on live. I was a part of the beta test for that. And it works, but it's not great. If they want this to be successful, they have to be able to solve that problem. They're going to have to put a lot of technology behind that to make it work. I think it's interesting that it doesn't matter what platform you're on. They're not going to release a set-top box, and that you can use any controller. You don't have to have theirs. You can use any controller you want. I think it has to be at least a X input controller, basically an Xbox style controller. Probably has to be that. And that you can do it from your browser, which means if you're on Linux, you could play games. If you're on Mac, you could play games. If you're on Windows, you could play games. If you're on an Android phone, you could play games. If you are on iOS, you could play games. That's assuming Apple allows an app for that. Or you could just be in your browser. And it would require a plugin. It would just all work via a JavaScript app on the web page. Anyway, in this getting to this part of the show, my message is because I come from a place of experience. The reason why I am in this physical condition is because I let myself go because I have depression, and for a long time I just did not take care of myself, and I've been to very dark places, and the worst thing you can do if you have depression is to hold it in, to keep it to yourself. Talking to people, you don't have to specifically do exactly what I'm doing here, where I will just voice my concerns and stuff online while exercising. Exercising is good for mental health as well. I'm doing this partially to lose weight, in addition to the new diet and everything, and to get back into shape, but also for the mental health as well. It helps to talk. If you need someone to talk to, if your family's not sympathetic, if you've got jerks in your family, which that can be a thing. Go to a school counselor. If you're still in high school, when you're still in school, go to a school counselor. If you're a religious person, go to your pastor or your rabbi or your cleric, and they will either be able to help you, or they'll be able to point you to someone who would be of good help for you, someone you could talk to. It helps to have sympathetic friends. I know that some people have friends that can be jerks, or they are fair weather friends, where they're friends but only while things are good. Or you can have great friends like what I've got, Tygra and Dave, who never really understood what I was going through, but they've been supportive anyway. They had some idea that something was wrong. I didn't have any support from my family or my ex. It's not all her fault. I made a lot of mistakes too. But anyway, it's best to talk to people, not hold any of it in. And I also recommend highly, do not let them put you on the drugs for depression. That shit's worse than the depression itself. Because, you know, if you're going through depression like I did, you will already be in dark places. And, you know, the medicines, the side effects of that will make you have thoughts in dark places. And I've come close to doing things. And the medicines will make you want to do them. It will make you have thoughts of doing that. Basically. So you need to, you need to not bottle it up. That's the worst thing possible. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for their encouraging words and other strange words. Thank everyone who gave me the follow today. I do this Monday through Friday. I also do other streaming occasionally. I need to do that a lot more. I post videos on YouTube. I need to post more on YouTube. Big props to those who are able to do this every day. I mean, it's a struggle as it is to get this video out, because I have to get up at 7:30 in the morning and prep for these live streams, and it's like, how do these guys prep to do these elaborate videos every day? It's like, well, it's only me doing them. Anyway, thank you for watching. My channel is affiliated with GamersBay. So GamersBay is another channel on YouTube that is centered mostly on retro games. But we do cover modern games. I recently uploaded a video for them covering Metro Exodus. And also I do a series of on the Atari 2600. I've been playing Atari 2600 games where I cover them, talk a little bit about their history, and show how the game is played and everything, because a lot of people know about the history of the Atari 2600. That's where a lot of gaming got started. It's not the first game console, but it was the first to become massively successful. It was the first to become massively successful. It's what started the whole video game revolution. So it's an important part of video game history. And we also have a community. We were formerly on Google+. We were one of the biggest, most successful gaming-centric communities on Google+. One of the first communities on Google+, actually. We were actually fairly important, because Virgin's now defunct esports brand got started there. We were part of some of the marketing for the 7th Guest remake. Metal Jesus Rocks, remember him? He doesn't make videos so often anymore. He used to be pretty big. He got his start in GamersBay. He started in GamersBay. So we've been somewhat of a big deal, and we're having to start over because Google Plus is shutting down in a couple of weeks. And so we've moved to MeWe. And now the link to our community in MeWe is in the video description below on YouTube. We also have an eBay store, a GamersBay eBay store, where we sell retro games from the original Xbox, some PlayStation 2, some PlayStation 1. We're also getting into doing some DVDs and some other random items of interest that you might be interested in. But we mostly deal with older games from older systems, original Xbox. I think we might start getting into some GameCube stuff. That would depend on what Daniel wants to put on the store. We don't have any cartridge games up there. I think maybe we might have one or two that might have already been sold. But again, if you're looking for retro games for Xbox, PS2, some PS1, check out our eBay store. The proceeds go towards helping the GamersBay channel and the Zorch Central channel. So we haven't had the store up there that long, so we haven't seen the benefits from that yet. But the more sales we get from that, the better things will become for our channels. And we'll have some other merch on another merch store. We'll have some the different things that you usually see from a lot of other channels that are selling merch. Gamers Bay is very close to getting back onto the Partners program, getting 1,000 subs, and they have the view times and stats to get back on the Partner program. Since Google changed the rules last year, my channel still has a long way to go. So anyway, thank you for watching. I've been rambling on enough. I am Mike TheZorch. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow morning. And I might be on later. Yeah, I might be on later today with some kind of gaming live stream. I'll be here using Restream to stream to YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer. So look forward to that. Right? I'll see you guys tomorrow.